Hello, welcome into another time-lapse video with a little voiceover recording. Haven't done one of these in a little while, so I thought I would just be in here tickling your eardrums with my voice and keeping you company and probably weirding you out a little bit. But anyway, let's get into this drawing and then whatever topics come to my mind that I want to talk about. This drawing, she's a young student witch. There's something I really like about drawing, like student witches in particular. I think it's because they're young, they're inexperienced, they're curious, they're starting to build their power and their magic, but they don't have yet the wisdom to avoid the bad stuff or what could potentially be bad stuff. You know what I mean? I feel like they're really good characters to set up for interesting stories and conflict. This student, which I'm imagining that she is in a magical library, which, you know, that is the most magical place, is a magical libraries themselves are amazing. I love libraries. But then imagining a library that's full of magical works, magical books that are tomes of power. I just love that idea. So she is here and she's picked up this, I wouldn't say it's the most like dangerous book ever, but it is going to have an eyeball on it. And so I think it is a powerful book that maybe a young student witch shouldn't be messing with. You know, there could be some deals, some deals that she might regret making later in order to gain the knowledge that's within this book. So it's that kind of like start to a story that I really enjoy when it comes to these types of characters. I really like how she came out and I really like her design. So again, with this piece and a lot of my pieces lately, I've been trying to really lean into texture and line art. I think for a long time, I used to feel like I needed to go in the direction of like highly rendered splash art type of stuff, you know, like in the style of Riot or Blizzard kind of concept art and splash art and all of that kind of stuff. But I don't really enjoy doing that kind of rendering all that much. Like I've done it before, and if I sat down to focus and be like, okay, that's the style I'm going to do, I'm pretty sure I could do it just fine. I did it when I worked on the job at a company, but yeah, it's just not as enjoyable to me. And I think that if there's anything that the past few months, like 6 or 7 months, have taught me, it's that life is just too dang short to be doing an art process that you don't really enjoy. Of course, there are times when you have to sit down and kind of muscle through an art piece or muscle through some studies in order to learn, but not necessarily to make that part of your whole process. Like if you are really battling with a process that you just really don't enjoy or you don't like, I think it's very worth it to try and investigate and experiment with ways that you can reduce that part of the process or just change it to make it actually enjoyable for you. Because yeah, like I said, life is too short. At the same time though, I've been feeling a lot of self-doubt when it comes to going with this sort of style and not rendering and shading as much. There is some shading in it, but not as much as, you know, a fully fleshed out lit sort of piece. It's very minimal shading because we're relying on the line art. But I feel some self-doubt around it because I worry that people just won't like it, I guess. It just comes down to people not liking it and something like that. I guess people thinking maybe it doesn't look done or it doesn't look polished or they don't think it's impressive or I don't know. It's a thing that I am trying to get over and just like not care as much, even though it's important when it comes to business, but at the same time, it's a balancing act of like, okay, how can you make something that's like marketable and at the same time is still true to yourself? And oh my gosh, speaking of self-doubt, I've been dealing with quite a bit of that lately over the past couple weeks, and especially the past week. I feel like I've been struggling a lot with self-doubt, especially self-doubt around what I'm even doing with my like career. This probably comes a little bit from being fully independent now and being completely untethered and just like I have the time to be doing whatever it is, however I want to structure my business and my Patreon and all of that stuff, right? And yet at the same, so I am filling all of that time with all of this, but yeah, it's a scary place to be because certainly this career choice is not a stable one. And so I think there's self-doubt around that. And also this season, I think that summer, now I'm no expert when it comes to this, but I think that summer is a little bit of a lower season when it comes to just spending in general. I think because people are on vacation and stuff. And so, and not only that, but this year has been a bit rough. Like I think basically for me, surprisingly, 2020 was actually a really good year for me as like an online art business type person. Like that's when a lot of growth started happening, even though 2020 was like the start of the craziness. And then ever since then, it's been kind of steady-ish growth. But this year has been rougher. This year has been a kind of a plateau. And I think it's a mix of a few things. I think that obviously the economy in general is kind of shit. It is, okay? And then online social media stuff, you know, there's no denying that is just, that's how I get like my artwork out there. It's how all of us artists try and like get our stuff out there so people can see what we're making, right? And it's been a lot harder. It's just gotten harder and harder. So I think it's a mix of that and then also the season. And there's probably some stuff I could do. I'm looking into trying to figure out like, okay, what can I do? How can I change? What kind of directions do I need to take? Because the world is just constantly shifting and changing, and we need to figure out how to ride the waves, I guess. But yeah, but knowing all of that, it's been helpful to just realize that it's not a personal failing. I hope not. I don't think it is. I'm doing my best. And you guys, I know you're doing your best. If you're struggling with any of this and any of these feelings, you're doing your best. I know you are. It's just kind of the situations around everything, I think. And the season itself, like I said, I know a few artists who they opened their shops, like they did shop drops recently, and I think they didn't go as well as they were hoping. And yeah, I think the consensus is like, oh, maybe July is not a great time to be doing like a shop drop. But yeah, people are on vacation. I'm going to blame people on vacation. Anyway, self-doubt, all of that kind of stuff. It sucks, but we have to deal with it. And what can you do but just keep going? That's what my partner told me, is like, well, you just keep going. You don't really have a choice. You just keep going. And it's true. So yeah, maybe I'll do a little magic myself. Maybe I'll work the money bowl spell. I don't know if any of you guys are fellow witches, but I do have a money bowl, but I've been neglecting it. Maybe that's what the problem is. Maybe I just need to work a little magic. Anyway, definitely a rambling little time-lapse video, but I hope you enjoyed. I guess I talk about self-doubt quite a bit, don't I? It's because it's a thing that comes up a lot, and then it helps me to talk about it with you guys. So I just talk about self-doubt on these videos, and yeah, hope they are helpful to you. They're helpful to me. A nice little therapy sesh talking to my patrons. Well, anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And yeah, happy drawing. Bye.